overheard two girls blabbering about how Yulia was pregnant and the father of the child is a married man. I was curious as hell, but decided not to pry since I no longer wanted to be in the loop about whatever was going on about them. The following day, I met up with my favorite cousin, and my curiosity got the best of me, so I asked him about what went on when I left. And oh boy, I was not ready for the tea. My grandma always had a gleeful disposition, she always greeted everyone and engaged in small talk with anyone. But apparently, when I left, she started to act differently. The happy grandma from the next door was gone, she always had a gloomy smile, even the way she talked changed. She talked about how bad she felt for me, how she was hurting so much that her precious granddaughter was going through such a rough time, and how it broke her heart knowing that she couldn't do anything to ease my pain. People around us knew Grandma as someone who hates to be seen as weak and helpless, so it was truly a heartbreaking surprise when they saw Grandma in such a state. Despite her lamenting about my unfortunate situation, she had nothing but kind words for James, Mary, and Yulia. Everyone revered me and my grandma for handling the situation ever so gracefully despite all the bad blood. People now started treating my ex-fiancé and Mary differently. They became a social pariah. After hearing what both James and Mary did and how they treated me, most family members cut their ties with them. Mary's husband, a good man, but very timid, apparently was my grandma's student. So he filed for a divorce and declared that Mary could have whatever she wanted from the marriage as long as he didn't have to deal with her anymore. As for my ex-fiancé, most of our mutual friends sided with me through the ordeal. James was in the process of being groomed to be promoted for a takeover as the department chief. This was huge because if it went through, he would be the youngest chief in the company's history. However, due to what had happened and the fact that his boss was a close family friend of ours, it all went down the drain. James was not fired from his job because his boss thought it would be such an easy way out. My grandma also spoke to his boss saying that firing James would be wrong and unprofessional and again playing her sweet old lady card. Yulia was caught having an affair with one of her bosses. Unfortunately, this boss of hers was married. The wife found out about the affair but didn't know who the third party was. Obviously, divorce papers were filed, and both parties agreed that it was a no-fault divorce. That was until the wife received incriminating evidence of both Yulia and the boss which were sent anonymously. Grandma hired a private investigator to collect enough evidence to incriminate both Yulia and her boss. Not only did the wife sue for 80% of their property but she also filed a case to have Yulia's license revoked, on grounds of moral turpitude. As the investigation went on, they found out that Yulia and her boss had been stealing from the company. My grandma told me that soon after Yulia lost it all, she saw Yulia at the grocery store and decided to have a small talk with her. She approached Yulia, with a smile on her face and a bottle of olive oil in her left hand. My grandma is very soft-spoken. So with a huge, sickly sweet smile she proceeded to tell Yulia she's worthless and that she feels bad her parents wasted their time raising her. Of course Yulia was pissed and started yelling at my grandma. A fellow shopper saw what went on and called the manager and the security. When the manager asked about what happened, Yulia began furiously explaining and repeating what my grandma just said to her. My awesome grandma then put on her gloomy smile and said that I approached her because I wanted to know if this was the right kind of cooking oil I was looking for. I couldn't read the label since I forgot my glasses at home. I'm sorry miss, I didn't mean to bother you, I just needed some help. This infuriated Yulia. The manager turned to Yulia and said, "Ma'am, the old lady just needed some help, and I'm pretty sure she would leave you alone if you just tell her you did not want to be bothered." My grandma then said, "It's all right sir, I was at fault here. Again, I'm sorry miss, hope you have a lovely day ahead." Everyone who saw the commotion gave Yulia dirty looks at the grocery store. Some were even really sweet and offered to assist and accompany my grandma while doing her groceries. One thing people did not know about my grandma is that she's really conniving. She knows how to play that sweet lady card all too well.